Okay. So can everyone hear me? Um, okay. Okay. Today we're going to be doing the third session in this series. So I worked on a lot of the questions that I got from yesterday and last week. And I think one of the suggestions was that we should be building a LinkedIn content engine, which was a good suggestion. So that's the one we are going to be looking at today. So for first, we are going to see a list of very common nodes that N8N offers, because I did get the question yesterday where someone wanted kind of like a cheat sheet or a tutorial on the different types of services that N8N can connect to. So we look at that first. We look at the kind of services it offers, like editing or updating or sending emails or updating rows or records. So we look at that first. And then after that, we'll do a hands-on demo where we are going to build a weekly content engine for LinkedIn. So it will research real Indian news, it will draft the post, and then um, once you were approving it, it will let you publish it with one click. So this is something that you can also very realistically build probably this week itself if you follow the demo that I do today. It's very simple, and also it has two workflows. So that's another thing that I wanted to show in one of these sessions, that you can use two workflows to automate one process and kind of just use that to optimize on the research part and the publishing part. I'll show you guys more when we actually do it. So, okay, so first let's start with looking at all the N8N nodes. So, there's five types of nodes: triggers, app nodes, logic control, data transformation, and output. So, triggers we've already seen. How does the workflow actually start? How does it wake up? So we've already seen the manual trigger where you click execute flow and it will just execute the entire workflow. But obviously, when you publish it, you can't keep clicking it. So you would have to use a schedule trigger and set it maybe to, for example, 10 a.m. on Thursday or whenever you deem it necessary. Then, so that's a schedule trigger. Or you can do a trigger that runs every 5 minutes or 10 minutes or every even 5 seconds. But that would obviously be very costly if you're using an LLM. So you would have to keep calling the LLM again and again, multiple times, every couple seconds. So that would be very expensive. But it is possible again. Then there is an email trigger, for example, where you get an email in your inbox. So that is the trigger for starting the entire workflow. So that would be a webhook trigger or a service trigger, where you receive some sort of update, and that is what triggers your entire workflow. So then we have app or service nodes. These are just nodes that are talking to another platform. So the biggest one that we have used till now is OpenAI. We are using that node to call the API and use the LLM to generate the output, and then we're using the output for our processes. So that is what a service node is. You can also consider services like Google Sheets or LinkedIn or Slack, whatever you connect to the outside world is a service node. So, or Salesforce, Zoho, the CRM we used yesterday. So that's the second type. Then we have logic control nodes. So these are just conditionals. So if you are familiar with a little bit of basic coding, conditional statements like if x is equal to 3, then execute this, or if y is equal to x, then do this, else do this. So that is kind of what it is. So it just sees if something is true, then it does action A, and then if it's not true, it does action B. We saw that yesterday as well, and then we saw it last week for the job resume scanner, where if the score is more than 7, then it was letting the candidate get get approval for further discussion, and if it was below 7, the candidate score, then it would auto reject. So that is the flow control node. Then there's also something called limit that we look at today. So limit is actually used to cut down on your token usage. So sometimes the services you connect to will give you a lot of data which you don't always need. We look at that today, so you'll understand more about it. It just limits your input. And then we have data transformation. So these are just nodes that help you shape the data between steps. So it's basically just like if you use, for example, a set or edit field, then you use the code node, which we'll be using today. It's a little bit of JavaScript, but it's very simple, very doable. And the good part about N8N is it has an Ask AI service. So whatever code nodes you do use and you don't know how to write code, you can take the AI's help, the inbuilt AI assistant, and it will help you do it. I will show you that as well today. So that is the data transformation node. And then we have the output or the action node. So this kind of overlaps with the second category because any app node can be the trigger, but conceptually, this is the something real happening in the world. So either you're sending an email, you're posting a message, you're updating a row, you're pinging your Slack channel. So basically, it's the main output or the action that the agent is taking. So these are the five types of nodes that N8N has. Okay, so today we are going to be exploring two workflows. Um, so first we will be okay. So the overall idea is that we want to build something that takes the latest kind of news online, and then it'll use that all the latest articles, news research, everything. It'll take it and then it'll make a LinkedIn post out of the relevant details and then post it on your LinkedIn. That's what we are going to be doing today, and you can automate this to do happen every single day, every hour, every week, every month, however you want it to happen. So I have divided this into two workflows. So kind of they rely on each other. So the first, because I wanted to make sure that whatever you're posting is of good quality. So the first workflow is a research workflow where it's kind of getting the data in from all over the internet, whatever's relevant, and it's deciding what data is good data and what to use. So that's the first workflow, and it's updating it on an Excel sheet or a Google Sheets. Then the second workflow is going to use that Google Sheets to make the LinkedIn post. So I've just divided it into two for simplicity so you can understand it better. Um, okay. So this, I just want to recap what we have done till now before we start building. So in the first session, we saw a very simple intro to N8N. We saw the white canvas kind of space where you can drag the nodes and everything just starts layering up one after the other. And the basic recipe is just a trigger, logic, and an action. And you can add memory optionally, but it will help performance. And another thing too, again, I will remind you guys is that citizen developers, which means people like you and I, well, it's just people who don't know how to code very proficiently. So if you're not an expert coder, but you're still looking into building your own workflows, then you are a citizen developer. So actually, they are outnumbering professional developers like me. And because everyone is building these workflows, they're very essential to the industry. In fact, the numbers you can see on the screen are 4 to 1. So for every four non-coders, there's one actual coder doing this automation. So it's very simple. Everyone can do it. You just have to have a little bit of learning initially and kind of experimenting, exploring. That's all. And we also saw how WhatsApp is used for a lot of Indian businesses, and we can kind of include it in our workflow. In the second session, we saw the CRM example using Zoho, where the leads have descriptions and the leads are not qualified, but the AI qualifies them on its own. And then we saw how the prompt is the product, basically, where all you can control is the prompt itself. So that's the thing you put a lot of work into. You put all your parameters, everything you're thinking about, you put that into your prompt, because that is basically the only thing you can control. And I also do remember talking about the temperature. So the temperature is basically how creative your AI can get when it is analyzing and outputting something. By that I mean, for obviously for drafting a post on LinkedIn, for example, you would want it to be a little creative, but not too much, because creativity does come with a risk of hallucinations. So the AI can kind of reproduce false data that just does not exist. So that is the I guess the con of having your creativity level too high. So if you set your temperature too high, that means your creativity is good, but then it can hallucinate. And then if you set your temperature low, that means your model will be more predictable. It will have kind of the same standard responses, which again is very useful if you're automating something that's very manual, repetitive, does not require a lot of creative thinking. So it's very reliable in that sense. But again, there's pros and cons to both. Yeah. So this is the cheat sheet that I wanted to show you guys. So this is basically a very high level overview of all the nodes that are in N8N. There are a lot of nodes. So this is just like kind of like a division into 12 categories, and I'm going to go through all of them. So first is the trigger. I already talked about this, so I won't stay on it too long. It's just something that starts your workflow, wakes it up. So there's, again, like I said, there's a couple types, like the webhook, which is your email or something getting updated, or the timing, where every maybe Thursday at 5 p.m. or something like that. And then there is just manual trigger, where you click it, only then it will happen. Then there is apps. So for apps, Google Sheets, for example, then OpenAI nodes, some Gmail, anything that's your app trigger. Then there's the if conditionals that I again talked about. So these are just your true false paths, and then they get executed depending on how the condition is evaluated. And then there's merge. So these merge blocks, I have not talked about them yet, so I will now. So basically, for merge, it just combines two branches either by position, by key, or append. So I don't think you guys will be using this much, but it's good to know that it exists. If there's some sort of niche workflow that does need to combine two workflows together. Then again, there's the manual trigger. I talked about this, the webhook, and then the code node. So here you do need to know a little bit of JavaScript. It's very introductory, very simple. But again, like I said, even if you don't know it, there's an Ask AI assistant inbuilt right next to that option of writing the code, which will generate the code for you. So it's completely free as well, as long as you have an N8N plan. And then the edit fields, then there's limit. We're going to look at this today, because I'll give you an example, like the one we are doing today. So I told you guys, where first we're going to get a lot of news online, and then we're going to use that all that news, the articles and the papers, to generate our post, right? Well, a lot of articles will come in, like probably 100 will come in, but you don't want your AI to analyze all 100, right? Maybe you wanted to look at the top 10 latest posts, like the posts that have been, like the articles that have been published in maybe say the last hour or the last 24 hours, the top 10 latest ones. You don't want it to look at everything that's online, right? That would just waste all your usage unnecessarily. So you can kind of look at the limit, experiment with what works for you and what doesn't. So these are some hidden gems that would help you guys, some tricks that will save time and money as well. So one of the most important ones, I think, is pin data. This just means that sometimes when you have a workflow and kind of like, for example, your fifth or sixth node stops working, Then to debug it, you will probably be running your entire workflow again and again to kind of figure out what the error is. But the thing is, if there's an AI node that's, for example, the second node before the one that has an error, the AI node keeps getting triggered again and again and again, and it will keep calling your AI again and again and just keep using your tokens and giving you the same output. So what you can do is you can pin the data so you stop refetching the data again and again. Another example is the RSS feeds. RSS just means it's just a node that will take data from the internet. So what we are using today to read all the articles that have been published online is called the RSS read node. So again and again, if you keep calling it now, well, RSS is free, but again, you will save time if you stop calling it multiple times and you just spin the data once and then use that to debug the nodes that are ahead of you. Then there are sub workflows. So for sub workflows, this is a little bit advanced or aspirational, but it's something I think you guys should know about. So today, for example, we're doing two workflows where one is writing the post, and it could just become its own mini sub workflow, which can be called from the first workflow. This is a little bit advanced. So I will say that once you master basic N8N, it's something to look at, like calling workflows from one another. That's one idea. And then there's expressions. So this is basically, we've looked at expressions before, the JSON kind of formatting that we dragged from the input bar into the nodes. So this again saves time because um, it just directly answers how the workflow like updates step by step. So this just saves time, and we've seen this. We can just drag it from the input bar. Then this is another important one, error workflows. So this automates basically the escape hatch. So if the first workflow, for example, fails 1 week, or if your AI is returning malformed data, or if an error workflow, so what will happen is the error workflow will ping you on Telegram or maybe Instagram or WhatsApp, or it'll email you instead of saying just dealing with the wrong data. So this is what we were talking about yesterday, where someone asked about human interference. So this is a very good example of human interference, where if something goes wrong in your workflow, it can kind of ping the human being and being like, okay, something is wrong. Either the data is unexpected, or the syntax is wrong, something is not working, and then the human can come in and kind of debug what's happening. Okay. So this is another question I got yesterday. What happens if your software is not on N8N's app list? And like I said yesterday, you have to get a little bit creative with how you feed the data in, because what N8N is doing when it connects to another software is it's just getting the data from there. Like yesterday, we saw N8N get my data on my leads from Zoho. That's all. It's just getting the data from a software. So if you there's many ways to do this. I've put three ways here, but there may be simpler, very niche ways depending on what data you want to input into your workflow. And the easiest one, the most beginner friendly one, I would say, is the email method, which is the first one. So anything you're talking about can be emailed to someone or just sent, and that is the easiest way to kind of trigger your N8N workflow with the data in an email. Then there is another trick called the front door trick. So this just means you read the web page with an HTTP request. Now this is a little more complex, but very, very doable even for beginners. And we will be doing this today using an RSS node, because an HTTP request node, it does require a little bit of knowledge about HTTP. So you guys can look into that. It's not super difficult. You just need to know a little about the get and the post methods in HTTP. But RSS is very simple to do, and we will be doing it today. It's just a way to get data from online, the internet. And then there's another way. So it's called the robot hand. So it's a browser automation. It's a little heavy, but universally, it's the most common fallback for systems with logins and no feed or no API at all. This is, I think, the most complex one here, and I think you guys should use the first two. And if those are maybe failing in some aspect, you can look into the third one. But I think you should try using the first two as much as possible. And then once you master the first two methods, then you should look at the third one. Okay. So this is the RSS node I was talking about. So there is no API for everything that's online, right? You don't have an API that you can just kind of feed into N8N and then it'll have all the data. So what you can do is you can use the RSS node instead. So this is the URL we are going to be looking at today. So what I mean by that is the RSS node, when I put this URL that's on the screen in the RSS node, it's going to get all the data online about marketing in India. Now, I've kind of broken down the URL here as well. So Q equals marketing plus India. This is just your search query. This is basically the same as you searching marketing India on Google or whatever search engine you're using. Then GL stands for geolocation, and then CEID is just the ID of the country. So here we are using India and for both, and the and symbol just connects them. So if you see this, the broken down parts, if you link them together with and symbols, it's just the query, the URL that is here. And again, here the host preference, the language will be English India. So if you guys have seen, maybe if you're selecting English as the language, there's English UK, English USA, English India. So we are using English India. So, but there is a small kind of thing you should consider here. Um, so Google has not published this as a supported API. It's just kind of a side effect of how Google News's website is built. Mm, okay. Wait, does anyone have any questions till now? Okay. Okay, so I'll just go to the next slide, which is basically our live build for today. So if anyone has any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat box or raise your hand. So I'll just start building the workflow now. So okay, so this is the workflow we are building today, the LinkedIn content engine. So again, this just summarizes what I've said. We're building one workflow as the researcher and the other is the publisher. So one will kind of get the latest Indian marketing news. It'll ask the AI to shortlist the best ones and then add them to a sheet we have on Google Sheets. We can use Excel as well, whatever you guys want. And then here nothing, no posting will happen here. This is just to populate our sheet with good material, but we'll see how the RSS node works here. Then workflow B is the actual publishing part of the workflow, where you click run and then it will actually post it on your LinkedIn and it'll generate a sort of draft that looks good, is well written according to the data on the Excel sheet. So workflow B depends on workflow A's Excel sheet. Okay. So this is workflow A. I'm going to just go through it shortly and then I'll build it. So we have a schedule trigger. I will put a manual trigger for testing it right now in front of you guys. Then it'll read the data from online with the RSS node. Then there's a limit. So it'll just keep the 10 latest items or maybe 5 or whatever you guys want to try with. It can even do 100. So just see what suits your needs. Then we have a small code block. So this just combines the items from limit into one text block. And I'll show you how you need a little bit of JavaScript here, but again, you can just use the AI assistant. Then we have OpenAI that will kind of shortlist your ideas and then write the angle and the hook. Then again, we have a code split that'll just turn one AI response into maybe say 5 items or whatever you think is necessary. And again, like I mentioned last time, the prompt is the product. That is basically the thing you're probably going to be spending most of your time with. So it's very important to kind of experiment with your prompt again and again to see what kind of thing works and what doesn't. I've put a couple of rules on the slide that are like some ground rules you should follow. So, the first one is setting the job, not just the topic. So, the prompt doesn't, here for this example, we are going to be posting about marketing in India. So, we are going to be taking all the data available on marketing in India and then we are going to be posting about it. So, here the prompt doesn't just say find marketing news, it'll define success to be likely to spark engagement. And this is the difference between asking to find articles versus find articles you could write something interesting about. So the output quality is actually very different. Then the avoid list. So here you rule out the near duplicates. So if you don't use this, you might get very like duplicate angles, the same story, or you'll get weak marketing relevance. Then there's the grounding aspect, which is a very important one as well. So you need real headlines. So the AI's job becomes to analyze and rank the real input. So this is a very important architectural decision. And then the honesty clause. So basically, what this does is if description is empty, you set all to false. We did that last time. So these just basically say that if you don't have enough to work with, don't fill anything in. So, or, even putting stuff like at the end that says, don't add any data that you didn't read, or don't, or only use the data that you found, something like that, using those kind of sentences or phrases will help reduce the AI from hallucination. Okay, so let's build the first workflow now. Okay, so I hope you guys can see my screen. So, okay, let me just delete this. Okay. So this is a sheet I have ready, and this is the sheet that the link workflow is going to populate. So I have some things, just very basic ones, like date added headline. So these are just for the ideas that the AI is going to pull using the RSS node. So the first step is going to be a manual trigger because we want to trigger this workflow right when we click it. Okay. Then we want an RSS node. So this is the node that I was talking about. So there's two, RSS read and RSS feed trigger. So for this one, you just want the workflow to read or get data from the internet. So you use RSS read. Now this is the URL I was talking about that was on the slide, with all the geolocation set to India and the marketing plus India query. So I'm just going to put that in. So it's the same one that you guys just saw. Okay. After that, now is the limit node that I have been talking about, because RSS read could send you maybe 100 news items as well. And you don't want all of those to be populated in your sheet because your AI will just analyze a lot of data and your usage will run out very quickly. So for this test run, let's set it to 5 items. And after that, there's some code in JavaScript. So we can use the code node. Now here again, you need a little bit of coding knowledge to do this. But like I said, you can just use the Ask AI feature to kind of group the data together. So I have the code prepared, so I'm going to put it in and explain it to you guys right now. Okay. So this is the code that I have prepared for this. So it just kind of groups together the headlines, titles, link, and the actual news. It'll just group everything together. So I'll just show you here by executing the previous nodes why we're doing this.
Just slightly zoom in, na? When you enter those details, just yeah.
Okay, okay. Okay, so like I showed you last time, the green means it's working properly. And like you'll see here, the RSS read is sending 100 items to limit, and then limit is just sending 5 items. So it's just kind of filtering out. And here, I've used keep first items because we want to keep the 5 latest items. So it's gonna be by default sending the first 5 items. You guys can see you can filter it by other like the last items as well. Then now the code in JavaScript. So you guys can see title, link, publishing date, content snippet. You can see all this input data which has come from RSS. So I'm just kind of grouping it all together here. And you can just ask the AI to generate the JavaScript that would do that using the input that's been given. So it's basically the same thing. We can execute step and just see how the data looks like in the output. Does anyone have any questions till now? Okay. Do you need like full-fledged coding? Okay, no, 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 you don't. That's exactly what I'm saying. So, okay, how to ask AI for code. So here in the Ask AI, you can just ask the AI that there's an example prompt here already. So you can just say, okay, look at the input and I want to group together the title, link, snippet, and you can just say you want to do that, generate the JavaScript code for this. So if you write something as basic as this and you just generate code here, it'll do it and it'll fill it in. So it's basically the same thing. I've just written mine myself. Uh, Okay, so you can see the output here. So the headlines are all grouped together here of the 5 news items we've seen. And okay. So it's just grouped together the headlines. I'm sure the titles are there as well. Mm, okay. Okay, we'll see that in the next one. Okay. So now that we have everything grouped together, so I hope you guys understood that the only reason we're doing this code is the code in JavaScript is to group the items we are getting from RSS read. So after we're grouping them, we want to run them now inside our OpenAI model. and that we wanted to kind of pick the whatever is relevant and populate the spreadsheet accordingly. So we want you can pick whatever model you want. I will just pick for many. I'll kind of go over how the cost depends on what model you choose a little bit later. I've prepared like a small slide on the money side of things as well, and how to maybe optimize your workflow to save money. Okay. So I've prepared the prompt already. I will put that in. One second, I am finding the prompt. Does anyone have any questions till then? Okay. Uh, mm, okay. So I'll go over the prompt a little bit. So, like I said in the last couple sessions, you should start by writing what the AI should act as. This will help it kind of assume the role, the tone that it should look at the data with, like the perspective. So I've written you are a content strategist for a marketing professional's personal LinkedIn presence in India. You will be given a list of recent news headlines and short descriptions related to marketing, advertising, and business in India. Your task is to review these headlines and identify the five best topics for LinkedIn posts with this week, ones that are timely, relevant to Indian marketing, business professionals. So I've just put my prompt here, and then I've told it to prioritize topics that relate to a recent shift, trend, campaign, regulation, and or maybe prioritize articles that are allowing the writer to share a genuine opinion or experience based take, not just a report on news, and something that's specific enough to write 150 to 200 words on. And it's not so niche that only five people will kind of be able to understand it. So, this again, this is something that I personally chose, but you can definitely just not do this either, because if people who are super into tech, for example, are posting like an AI engineer is posting about news on AI, it has to be a little bit technical, definitely, and this would just not prioritize the latest news that are technical, because the developments are so technical that kind of it has to be a little bit jargon heavy. So again, you have to tailor your prompt according to whatever you are using it for. All this is done on ChatGPT, and what else? Okay, so I am using OpenAI's model here, but you can use whatever model you like. You can connect it to Anthropic. It's just OpenAI has free credits for the beginning couple workflows you make. And Gemini also actually has an API that will let you call it a little bit for free, but it's very little. So you might have to pay a little out of your pocket. But again, it's very, very small, like the amount of money that it takes. I think yesterday, the if you guys attended the session yesterday, everything that I ran only ended up taking $0.02. So that's like around 2 rupees, maybe 3 rupees. So it's very, very cheap. Okay. So I have also written to avoid pure celebrity or entertainment news. unless it has a clear marketing industry angle, because we know that the tabloids here do push forward a lot of celebrity news, and you probably don't want to be posting that on LinkedIn. Then avoid topics requiring information not present in the headlines or near duplicate topics from the same story. And this again, specify how your output will be returned. So yesterday we were talking about returning a JSON output. Yes, I can definitely share the prompt. I will put it in after I complete this. So the headline, okay, wait, I'll just put it in right now. Okay, the message is too long. I'll have to send it as a text file. I'll send it toward the end of the session. Okay, so for now, just try to follow it here. Okay. So the output again for each of the five topics, return the headline, the source link, the angle, and the draft hook. So this, if you notice, is the exact same columns that I have on my page here. So we're doing this to make sure that the output kind of corresponds to the Excel sheet. And then here are this week's headlines. So now this is the part where I'm giving it the data that RSS has given me. I've just, again, if you don't know how to write this, you don't have to. You can just drag the headlines and put it in here. And I've said return only valid JSON, no markdown formatting, no code blocks, no extra text, and exactly this structure. So I've even put like a format structure. And if fewer than five headlines are genuinely suitable, choose the closest five and note that this is a lighter week in the angle field rather than inventing topics. So this is exactly what I was saying about hallucination. You can avoid it by choosing phrases like this, like don't invent topics, and you use genuinely suitable ones. So this will help the AI kind of not hallucinate. So after that, we have this. So we can run this and see the output as well. So I'll just do that. As you can see, even just for five news items, it is taking a little bit of time. So using limit definitely helps to kind of save time. Here you can see this is the output that it has generated. So the headline is super dry, launches FIFA official licensed products collection in India ahead of World Cup. And then there's a news link here. So this is the text. And now the thing is, now this text, we can't directly update it in the Excel sheet, because this again, the format is not going to just, it's not just you can copy paste it on your Excel sheet or your Google Sheets. So you kind of have to again use another code node here to kind of refactor it in a way that you can populate in your Excel sheet. So I'll just put in the code that I have prepared, and I will explain it to you guys. So because we want we have 4, 5, we have five columns here that we want to populate. So we want five different rows, sorry, five different columns. So I've put that here, like the output. And then again, you can just ask the AI to, I want to split the output of the OpenAI block into five columns. And then you can just kind of specify all the five columns and it'll be able to do that as well. And then you can just generate code here. So I'll just show you how this looks by executing it. Okay. It's executing. Okay, so like you guys can see, it has split it into the things I wanted it to. So the headlines and the source link, the angle and the draft hook, these are the exact same categories that I have here. And now it's going to just populate it on our Excel sheet. So as you guys have guessed by now, we need to just add another node that says append row in sheet. We've used that a couple times by now. So we go to sheets and then we do append row. Now this is again, I've signed in here, otherwise you might need to sign in to connect the credentials. And so we want the LinkedIn ideas sheet because that's what it's called. And then there's one sheet, so we do sheet one. Now we're mapping each column, and you can see that the columns I have been mapped here. Now the thing is, initially I want all the status of all my ideas to be pending because I haven't executed them. So initially, when the AI is populating everything, I'm going to set all the data rows to pending. Now, again, for the data, you can just kind of, uh, yeah, it's Google Sheet, I mean, sorry. So you can use Excel sheet as well, or you can use Google Sheet. It's the same functionality. So for headline, we drag headline, and then we drag source link, and then we drag angle, and then we drag the draft hook. And for date as well, we can just have for today, it's 14 June. So we can write 14 June for now. There is a JSON kind of form expression that will add the date for today. I can look into that. Just give me 1 second. Mm. Yeah, there is an expression like today. So I'm just looking at what it exactly is. I have noted it down. 1 second. Okay. So it's this. So you just do now dot format and then you have this. I can, while connecting the G Sheet in this flow, the authentication was done through Google API using your email. Um, yes, it was. It was done. You just, it'll take you to the sign in and then you can just connect it through that. Okay. So, mm, this is not getting highlighted as green, so I think there's an issue with this. For now, I'll just keep June 14 and I'll look into that. Uh, let's see. Okay, so it's worked. So I'll just look into the date added part of it. I want to save a little bit of time since we are we've spent a lot of time on this. So this is how it's going to get generated, and like you can see here again, it's the same thing. So all of them are pending and it's been added here. So if you can see, I'll just show you one of the news that it has picked up. So this was published on June 14, 2026. So that's today. So you can see that it has taken something very recent. So that is how RSS does work. Okay. So that is basically how the first workflow works. It kind of just puts all the data into your Google Sheets and then puts the status as pending. So now we'll look at the second workflow, which actually will post or email or whatever you want with the data. Okay. Mm. Okay, so first we do a manual trigger. And then after that, we need to get the rows from the sheet because now we are getting ideas from the sheet itself. So we add sheets and we do get rows. Okay. Now we choose LinkedIn ideas and the sheet. Okay. Now after that, um, we want again a limit because right now at least I just want to show you the one like the latest one, the latest post. We want to post one post at a time, right? So we are going to have to use a limit again. If you're doing 5 posts maybe at a time, then it's fine to keep no limit because you have put 5 in the previous workflow. But for now I will keep one as a limit, and then after that we add OpenAI. Okay. So again, you choose whatever model that feels suitable for your needs. Mm. Okay. Again, the prompt here, now this completely depends on you. Uh, so I'm just going to put in the prompt I have prepared. Mm, okay. So now this is the prompt I had prepared. I'll just go through it a little. You are writing a LinkedIn post for a marketing professional in India in their authentic voice, confident, conversational, occasionally using a rhetorical question, but never uh, salesy or filled with buzzwords like synergy or leverage. So this is just what I have kind of. I asked AI to give me like recommendations for the prompt, and then this one seemed like a good one because I do want to avoid buzzwords that kind of just feel like it's been AI generated or a little cheap. So you are given a headline, an angle, an opening hook, a source. So now this again, we can get through the input of the notes from before. And like I had said, you if you are not writing this, you can just kind of drag it in from your input. Same thing. And then you write a LinkedIn post of so I've given a word limit as well. You can increase this, decrease this, whatever you like. And then I've told it to open with a hook. And then you can adjust light wording. Then you develop the angle with one concrete example. So angle is just basically a small sort of summary of the entire article. So I've told it to develop it with a concrete example, number or observations or something that kind of grounds our entire post. Then you end with a genuine question that invites comments. And then you include a couple of hashtags. So LinkedIn can kind of push it in that direction because that's how LinkedIn posts do work. You add the hashtags and they get pushed in that kind of direction. Then you mention the source naturally if relevant. So either you saw this in the news, but you don't fabricate a quote, you just paraphrase. Do not use emojis, do not use the phrase in today's world or game changer. Again, this is just like a very personal thing. You can change your prompt however you like. If you like these words, you can keep them in. Write in short paragraphs for LinkedIn readability, return only the post text, ready to publish, no preamble, no markdown, no quotations. So I'm telling it to return the exact same text that I will be posting on LinkedIn. Okay. So I can execute this and show you guys the output as well. Okay. So as you can see, the output is here. So it says sports marketing is evolving. Here's how Superdry captures. Okay, so again, another thing, this N dash looks very odd. And I think there is a big preconception that misconception that only AI will generate M dashes. And these type of M dashes, yeah, they are definitely AI generated. So I can tell it here to not include M dashes. So I'll just put that as one other thing. Don't use M dashes. And let's see it execute and kind of change the wording. Oh, so this is my point because I'm using a weaker model. It is still using an M dash. So maybe let's see what happens if I put it at the top. Hmm. Okay, that's funny. It's still using M dashes. Okay, so I think that's because I'm using a weak model here. If you use probably a better model, then it should definitely not be using M dashes. So either the call is glitching, but yeah, I think you should. That's why it's very important to kind of experiment with the output and the models you choose because right now you can see I'm telling it not to use M dashes and it's still using M dashes here. Okay. Maybe if I do this, don't use M dashes at all. Let's see if this works. Oh, okay, that worked. Okay. So like this is another kind of thing maybe that would help you in prompt engineering. You kind of copy paste the thing you don't want it to use, because I guess it didn't understand M dashes, but here now it's not use them. So okay, that's good, it worked. Okay. So that is the AI output now that we have to post on LinkedIn. So now again, very simply, we will just add the LinkedIn create a post option here. Okay, but the thing is, my LinkedIn the connection has been a little finicky today for me. It has been connected to my account, but here it says error fetching options from LinkedIn. Now, ideally, this should not be happening. You should be able to get your name or your ID over here, and the text will just be the text you can drag in from here, and then you can just execute this step, but it's not going to work right now because it's there's some error with connecting to my LinkedIn. uh as you guys can see, it has been connected to my LinkedIn, but it's just this happens sometimes. This is an error on the authentication side, so you kind of just have to keep retrying, keep deleting the credential, and it could work, but right now it's acting a little finicky, so I'm just going to leave it to save time. And I'll just show you another example instead of LinkedIn. So I'll just for now do Gmail to just show you that it's working. Send a message, and is the authentication issue from LinkedIn? Someone has asked. Okay, yes, the authentication issue is definitely, it's not on, it's either on N8N's authentication side or LinkedIn's authentication side. So the thing is, when they try to connect both together, that the auth process, something is not working, and this is an issue on the side of that authentication itself. This had happened to me yesterday when I was trying to connect with Zoho as well, but deleting the credentials and kind of reconnecting and deleting the credential and reconnecting, sometimes it works out. So maybe if you delete it and then give it a little bit of time, maybe the so I think what's happening is the system is pointing to an old deleted credential that I was working with before. And maybe because of that, it's getting confused and not being able to connect, because N8N is a little bit slow. It does point to credentials. Like you have to keep deleting them again and again. So I think personally, I think that is the issue. So I think if I tried connecting to LinkedIn tomorrow, it would probably work if I gave some time for the system to kind of just set in on its own. But if you guys connected to LinkedIn, it should ideally, definitely, it should work. And you can keep deleting and reconnecting the credentials. So for now, I'm just going to put my email to just show you what the post looks like. And okay. Okay, so this is another thing I was saying in the slides itself. So you can see the input is gone, and I have to execute the messenger model again to get it. So this like, is calling my API again. So to have prevented this, if we had pinned the data, oh, it's not going to run because I have LinkedIn in here. So let me just delete it for now. Okay. So this is what I was saying about debugging your workflow. Sometimes you might have to re-execute it, and it's literally going to give me the same data we've seen, but it's calling the API again. So that could have been avoided if we had pinned the output in the middle. So that is something definitely you guys should look into. Okay. So I've put the message here, and then let me just execute step. Okay. So now let's check my inbox. Okay. So this is the LinkedIn post that would be getting posted. Again, you can kind of format it by using new lines. So I will show you what a new line is if you don't know already. You can in your prompt, you can like include something like uh, use new lines and format. the text for readability. So what this will do is this character that I have just typed, the new line character, it's a backslash and an N. It just basically means that the text goes on the next line. As you can see right now, it's a little bit messy because it's not going to the new line, it's just continuing again and again. And but you can see that it has the hashtags that will push it in the LinkedIn direction of, say, sports marketing, consumer engagement, and then it also has the link here. So this was also posted today itself. So this is a very recent article. So like you can see, this is working. Okay, let's see if the output differs. Oh, you can see. So it's added the new lines here, if you can see. And basically, this will just mean that the formatting will be better. I can just execute this again and we can see how it looks. I don't know if I think email should be able to format the new lines. I'm not too sure. Let's see. Okay. So I don't understand why this is not executing. It should be. Okay. Okay, it got executed. Uh, let's see. Let's refresh. Okay. Okay, so it is a little bit cleaner, but the new lines, I guess the new lines aren't getting formatted on Gmail, but definitely on LinkedIn because it's a post you are posting, it's text, it'll get formatted. So the new lines definitely should appear on your LinkedIn post. So instead of email here, there should have been LinkedIn. And there is one last thing that we should do for this. So after this, we need to, uh, if you want, you can simultaneously post the blog to some other social media sites along with LinkedIn from the same flow. Definitely, you can connect it to your Instagram. You can connect it maybe to Telegram, Twitter, whatever you want. That's the only thing. There's some authentication issue right now. Otherwise, I really wanted to show you guys. I created a fake account on LinkedIn as well for this, but it's not getting connected. So, but definitely you guys should experiment with that. Maybe create a fake email account and then see if the posting is working or not. It should 100% work if the authentication is set in. Okay. So I'll just show you one last thing. Now, what we want is we need to update the row. So the thing is, um, one second. Oh, I added the wrong sheets. Update row. Okay. Right now, all of them say pending, right? But then we have used the one about super dry sports marketing. So that one should be saying done or finalized or completed, something, so that the next time the AI is taking whatever news it is, it won't take one that's pending. So we want to update the row. So from this list, first we choose the sheets that we are working with. My N8N is being a little slow right now. Does anyone have any questions till then? Okay. Okay. Maybe just. Okay. It's not loading, but it should ideally just. Document fixed expression. Uh, I don't understand. Can you please elaborate the question that you have sent in? Document fixed expression. Oh, well, it's it's fixed. It's just the thing is this is just going to choose what documents are on my Google Sheets. It's just not loading. It's going to show me LinkedIn ideas and I just have to click that. That's all. Let me try to refresh. Maybe N8N is a little bit slow, so this might happen to some of you. Okay. Uh, okay, so this is just, I think the website is very slow, but I will try for maybe 2 more minutes, and if it doesn't work, we'll just go back to the slides because I do have to cover a couple other things about cost and token usage that basically how you will be optimizing your workflow to use to call the API less often and how you can maybe structure it so that you don't use as much of your usage as quickly. Okay, let's try sheets, update. Okay, perfect. Okay. So again, another thing is when you're updating a row, you want to match on something. So this is whatever you're updating, it needs to understand what like exactly needs to get updated. So you need some sort of ID or something that's unique about every single row. So you need ideally, I was going to use the source link itself. Okay, and the source link will just be, I have it here, so I'm just gonna drag it in here. And then the status we are putting as done. Okay. So ideally now this should work. Let's execute the entire workflow and check. Okay. Okay, so as you can see, the sports marketing thing we just saw, it has been marked as done. So this has worked. And now the next time your first workflow runs and it populates ideas, it'll all be pending. But then every time you run this, it's not going to choose something that's done because it's going to choose the pending ideas and then keep doing them until all of them are done. So you can schedule like the posts in that way, and then after all of them are done, you can kind of weekly run the workflow that populates the Google Sheets in the first place. Okay. So this was the entire workflow. Now let's go back to the slides. Uh, Okay. So this is what we actually did today. This is the second workflow. And then now what this actually costs you and how to keep it cheap. So now this is the economics layer underneath everything we built today. And this is actually one of the most useful things you will learn today because, yeah, AI does cost money, but you need to concretely understand how much money and how it'll bill you exactly. So first is the limit node. So this is the most direct, tangible way because we saw it happen today. So we saw a full RSS feed. So we saw first that if the RSS feed is sending 100 items, right? So then we put a limit of 5 items, and only the 5 items got updated on the Excel sheet. If we hadn't done that, all 100 items would be running on your OpenAI model, and it would have used your usage so much. So this is one way to definitely decrease your spend expenditure. Then there is using snippets and not full articles. You can opt to choose sending short RSS snippets instead of all the article text. Then the full text can be a lot more tokens for a task that maybe you only need the context for. And then model choice. Now, this is a technical thing. It's the single biggest way you can see maybe a 10 to 20 time price gap between model tiers. So the practical habit is to build and test with the cheap model first. So like you saw, I was using a cheap model, but still when I was telling it not to use M dashes, it was still going ahead and using M dashes. So maybe if I was using a stronger model, it wouldn't have done that. But then for the cheaper model, once I tweaked the prompt, once I said don't use this, and then I copy pasted the M dash itself so it knows exactly what I'm talking about, then it stopped using M dashes. So my point is, with prompt engineering you can make a weaker model work as well. And it's very, I guess it's a good thing to maybe keep experimenting with cheap models. If you can make them work, definitely try to. If you can't, then maybe go for a slightly pricier model. So that is one thing very important. That's why you have to keep experimenting with that. And then the pin data while debugging is another thing I talked about, where if you pin the AI output while debugging, then you won't have to keep executing the LLM node and keep calling your model again and again, and it'll keep getting built to your usage. Okay. So, this is just a recap of the entire session today. So, I show you guys how the 400 plus nodes that N8N has, we sorted them into 5 jobs, and we also saw 12 categories. Then we saw a couple ways that you can kind of reduce your cost and make your workflow more efficient by using the pin data expressions, the sub workflows. And then if there's no integration available, you can just use RSS or you can email. So this is another thing that we saw. That was a question from last time. And then there's a great AI prompt will do these things that are listed here. I'll just go back to the AI prompt. Um, Okay. So this is, I think, one of the more important things that we covered today, where you should be defining everything you can. And another thing to add to this slide is if you can define the role of the AI, that helps too. Like if you saw, I told the AI you are a professional marketing strategist or you are a professional marketer, marketing LinkedIn post professional, something that'll tell the AI how to evaluate the data you are giving it. And then again, just look at the models, keep experimenting, build smaller workflows. This is another thing I would recommend is break your entire process into smaller workflows and test the workflows individually. It'll be easier to debug as well. And once you have debugged all the workflows, then you can call each workflow from one another. It is a little more complex, but it is very easy to maintain and scale. Like if the process, then for example, you need to add some stuff to the process, it's very easy to do that if it is broken into different parts compared to if it's a big workflow all on its own. So that's another thing I would recommend. So I think we are done for today. Does anyone have any questions that I can answer? Okay, the prompt doc, I will definitely put that in. Give me just 1 second. I will make a text file and put it in. If anyone has any other questions, still I'm making a text file of the prompts, then please let me know.
So, guys, how was the session? Are you guys enjoying this? Are you finding it useful? Kindly share your input so that we can plan all the upcoming sessions accordingly. Okay. So, how was the session today? Did you like it? Are you enjoying this? Okay. So, guys, don't worry about the prompt and stuffs like that. So, I will be like sharing all the contents to you. Okay. With the document and stuffs. Okay. So, guys, and please practice it, because if you don't practice it, like you will not see where the challenge is, and you need to troubleshoot no more. Okay. So only then this will be more useful for you guys. So, try practicing this, and if you have any queries or anything, just post it in our group and we will help you out. Okay. So enjoy your evening then. I will upload this recording in another. It takes 45 minutes to for Zoom to process it, and then in next 20-30 minutes we will do it. Okay. Thank you guys. I'll see you next week then. Bye. Thank you, Anna.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I've put the prompt doc in if you guys want, and I'll see you guys later.
Anna, you can WhatsApp me the document also. I will share it to them.
Yeah.